Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the November 19th Curriculum Committee meeting. I will call the meeting to order. Before I ask for approval of the agenda, I'd like to switch an item. Under C1, low performing NC Star restart. Let's move that up to after approval of meeting minutes so we can expedite our good principals getting back to their schools where they belong.
So moved.
All right. And I'll need a motion. I need a second to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
Ms. Helms, you're with us, right?
Aye. Yes,
Great.
aye.
Great. We appreciate you as your last act as a sitting board member to be part of the curriculum committee, which I know you have been involved in since almost the beginning. All right. Approval of meeting minutes. Does anyone have any additions, deletions, or other changes to the meeting minutes? If not, I'll look for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All righty. Low performing NC Star restart, Dr. Breedlove.
So
Introduce our guests.
I'll start with this, Mr. Sides, really
thank
quick. The first part of this item is to have a presentation from our two principals. One, Ms. Giddens from the Health Sciences Academy at Monroe Middle School, and then the second, Dr. Cindy Crawford from East Union. Just to reset everyone. So every year, the state of North Carolina identifies schools that are considered low performing based on the state accountability metrics. Back in the 2016 school year, when I first came, we had identified 6 persistently low performing schools. At the end of the 2019 school year, we had 2. And these are the 2, East Union and Monroe Middle School. But I do want to say, as you will remember, they were literally 1 point away from not being considered low performing. They've made extremely great progress. I'm very proud of these 2 schools. Our goal is to have 0 identified low performing schools. But I just want to commend the staff of these 2 campuses, the leadership, because over the last 3 years, you have done tremendous work to improve your school's academic rating. And because there was no accountability last year due to the pandemic, the accountability ratings from the prior year, which was the 2018-19 carryover. We do not know if there will be an accountability at all this year. We've been told that there will be no waivers. However, we know that could be subject to change. So we are moving forward as if there will be an accountability system, because at the state level, that's what we've been told as of today. So the first part of this agenda item is to hear from our 2 principals. And I think we're going to start with Ms. Giddens and their school improvement plan presentation.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Okay, I'm Kasha Giddens, the principal at the Health Sciences Academy at Monroe Middle School, and I'm going to be walking you through our data and our accomplishments and our plans. As Dr. Houlihan alluded to, we have our testing data from the last 3 years because we didn't have any of that data from last year. And as he so eloquently explained, our performance had really improved from the previous year's scores. And one of our points of pride really is our school growth score. As you can see, that was 25, plus points. And that was, amazing. Our staff, our community is still extremely proud of that.
Could I interrupt you for a second?
Yes.
Could you go into a little greater depth what makes up these scores, how they're compiled?
Good question. Yes.
Okay. So, which portions of the score is like the school performance score?
Well, I'm most interested in the school growth score. Since you knocked that out of the park, I think it would be helpful to know what is, constitutes that score.
Okay, I'm still getting familiar with how these scores are compiled. So
I can go,
Okay.
and Brad, Dr. Breedlove, you can help me. So if you take a look at the second row, your school achievement score is essentially based on the accountability system, whatever formula that they use. This is really the percentage of your students in reading, math, and science that are proficient on the North Carolina end of grade exams that you take in middle school.
Okay.
That is basically, you've mastered the standards based on the cut score that the state sets. Okay. That's achievement. Growth would be the second one, would be basically the overall percentile gain that students made from the beginning of one year to the end of the next. So it's a 1 year at a glance, or technically the end of 1 year to the end of the other year, based on EOG's performance. They look at how much growth did you make. A good example that I use is take sixth grade reading. For a child who enters and is reading at a fourth grade level in sixth grade, but when they take the sixth grade reading EOG, they're now deemed to be reading at a seventh grade level. That's 3 years worth of growth. That's calculated in the formula by the state to determine your growth score. When you take achievement and growth together, that's when you get your school performance score. And to be rated as a C school, your overall score has to be at 55 or above. And so an A school, it's in tiers. An A is, a certain number to this number. A B is a certain number to this number. And a C is, 55 to 65. I don't remember what it is. And then you go D and F. So when I say they were 1 point away from moving out of low performing, if that 54 is the combination of their formula of achievement and growth. Does that help?
And that takes into account all EOG testing. So if we're testing, if you're getting an EOG in a class, that's part of the school growth score.
That is correct.
Okay, great.
That is correct.
That helps a lot. Thank you.
Okay, and so I'd like to highlight some of our accomplishments over last year. And so, of course, we're going to continue to focus on our mission, our vision, and our long-range goals. But, a point of pride for us is really trying to recruit and retain the staff that we have. And one of the processes that we have in place is our flight program, which is really an intensive program for our beginning teachers. And we really were able to continue to hone that process and really provide them with the support and the PDs necessary to help them grow. Also, our PLC, which is a professional learning community. And so, within that community, we discuss the data, we talk about, student performance and scope and sequence and the standards that we need to be addressing. And so we were hoping to continue that process, and we were, and we continue to train our staff. And of course, on highlight, we're the Health Sciences Academy at Monroe Middle School. So we were finally able to procure 3 dedicated HSA teachers for the program. We've gone through a lot of turnover in those positions. There are a lot of work because they have to go through, they teach all 3 grade levels as related arts teachers, and that's really, quite burdensome. So we did some tweaking to the program, and we're able to retain 3 dedicated teachers, and they're with us at the start of this school year. So we're super proud of that. And also the growth of our parent council. We can't really do this alone. We need the support of our families, our community, and the parent council, and the growth of that. We were able to elect officials for that, and we're able to carry that into this year. So we're extremely proud of that as well. And also, with moving into the COVID version and not having school, we really needed our teachers to be able to utilize their technology better than they had in the past. Like, Canvas is our learning management system, and having everybody be well-versed and trained properly to support our students with that. That was really one of our focuses going into, working remotely last year, and we were able to accomplish that as well. So I think we left the school year with everybody feeling pretty confident in reference to their skills. And of course, the culminating event is our virtual 8th grade ceremony that we had. And we were, very proud to be able to pull that off, to stream it in 2 locations, Facebook and Instagram, and also have a drive-through situation the next day so they can get their certificates, get yearbooks. We had music playing, just had a very festive atmosphere for something probably, they're going to really miss having the opportunity to have the real live version. So, and our school improvement goals. And we can't do this without having a positive school culture. And so that is one of our main points that we continue to try to refine and get through. And it's all in. And we've added actually some other words, all in this together, because we know how tenuous and strenuous this all is. And so some of the school improvement goals that we have is our professional learning community. We continue to try to train people. We had people do virtual training. I think about 20 people join the solution tree training, because that is where the really heavy lifting of our growing as a culture, really trying to focus on the data, how we're supporting our scholars individually and as a community themselves. We do a lot of that work there. So training people on the process, how to do it, and answering, the best questions in reference to that. And also our health science partnership, once again, we're able to offer robotics and healthcare, medical investigators, and business and healthcare. So like I said, we made changes to that program, and those things are going to provide more interest for our students. They have a choice to choose as they go through the program, things that are going to reflect what they want to do. So those are our goals this year.
May I ask, do you
Yes.
still have the, was it 2 representatives or employees from Atrium at the school?
Yeah, so we still have an employee from Atrium with our building. We
Okay.
have one
So there's,
because, okay.
sorry, Ms. Giddens, there's one dedicated kind of health sciences liaison that's an Atrium employee that's assigned to Monroe. There's another one that is now assigned to Monroe High School because this is year 1 of the partnership with the high school. And then there's a third one that is assigned and dedicated to East Elementary and Walter Bickett Elementary. That individual shares those 2 schools.
Okay.
So we actually, the hospital system has expanded their resources with their personnel, and we've gone from one individual to now 3.
Is it the same lady that when, along with the Monroe City Council, visited the school from Atrium? Is it still that?
She's not our person, but she still works closely with our person.
Okay.
She's at the high school.
She's at the high school now. Okay. So she followed the kids.
Yes, she
Okay.
did. And the program is still newer there. So
All right. In your point about increasing the availability of tutors, how many are you talking about taking existing teachers and turning them into tutors? Or these part of Dr. Houlihan's tutor program, and exactly how many dedicated ones do you have now?
okay, yes, this is a part of Dr. Houlihan's tutor program.
Okay.
And so we have not taken any from our seventh grade program. We just reallocated some of the resources, and we have a couple extra that now that we have in 6th grade and 8th grade, and they're working with our L population, our ESL, English language learners. And also they're working with our EC, exceptional children. And so we're trying to provide more supports for those particular students.
How many do you have?
We have 14 right now.
14.
Okay, so I'm going to continue on with our plan for success. And so once again, I'm just going to highlight some of the things that we're working on to, help us solidify our success. Once again, classroom culture, building culture, all of those things are extremely important to us. And so we're trying to provide opportunities to provide praise for our scholars and our staff. We're highlighting the work that they're doing in the classroom because we understand how stressful it is. We want to make sure that the best practices are being shared broadly. And then also, highlighting them. We have the honor roll, AB honor roll for those students, and highlighting them, making it a big deal so they want to continue to strive and continue to be successful. Yes.
When I read this, I banked one of the questions, and that is culture coach. What is it?
Okay, so this is new for us this year. We have Ms. Velez. She is our culture coach. We share with the high school. And she actually right now has been going in and doing classroom visits or worrying about just the environment of the classroom, making sure classroom management, it's, the procedures are in place, that we're using our champs. She helped facilitate our champs and our PBIS training. She also participates in the HSA Touch Base partnership meetings that we have biweekly in our building, so that make sure that we are always including and integrating the health sciences into the work that we're doing. And when we have events like Red Ribbon Week or Hispanic Heritage Month, that we are thinking of all opportunities that are available for us that kind of highlight our culture, highlight our students, really, drive the point home of all the things that we are doing successfully.
So it's the culture of the school.
Yes, but we have a person who helps us highlight
Right,
those things.
but that person, I'm with you.
Yes.
We're on the same page. You're doing great, by the way.
Thank you.
You're highlighting the culture of the school. See, because in my mind, and if the good Lord allow me, on Wednesday next week, I'll be 62. When I hear culture coach, I'm thinking of some of this crazy stuff out there in society culture, but you're not talking about that. You're talking about the culture of your school, the culture of, the Health Science Academy at Monroe Middle, that culture, and making sure everybody is on board with that culture.
Yes.
Okay.
An environment for success. She helps us with that.
Thank you.
No problem.
And just to also add to that, if you see the word culture coach as a reminder, that's a new position for us. That was part of a Legends grant that we were awarded last year that is currently supporting, I don't know, how many schools?
11.
I think 11
11.
schools across the district, including Monroe Middle School and not East Union, including Monroe Middle School. So that's a 3-year grant, I believe, 5-year grant that we are basically learning best practices about how to create positive culture, positive climate within the building and within classrooms. And so it's an extra person in these schools that is a member of her leadership team.
Is it a former teacher? I
Yes.
assume? Okay. that you
Actually, we had
selected?
the grace and fortune to have her from East Union.
Okay.
So
Stellar.
she's amazing.
Does she report directly to you?
She reports directly to me
Okay.
and Mrs. Batchelor over at the high school. So we share. She's been amazing and she's
Thank
extremely
you, Dr.
helpful.
Leanne.
So, all right. And also the important part of, everything is about instruction. Ultimately, at the end of the day, if our students aren't able to learn, then we're not really doing our job. So we really are trying to provide concise feedback to our teachers, and we redid our informal walkthrough form. So these are some of the things we're trying to do to make sure that they get meaningful feedback in real time, and also continue with the PLC training, because again, that's an important community. It's a sub community as a part of our greater community. So, and also we have an equity committee to give our scholars more of a voice in the building. We haven't had an opportunity to do that in the past, but they need to have their fingerprints on the things that we do and to provide the value in the school. We as adults think we always know everything, but we need to hear from them and making sure we serve them properly. Okay, next slide, please.
Can I interrupt you again?
Yes.
My acronym alarm just went off. What is ALEKS?
Oh, Alex, sorry. I meant to highlight that as well. Got a little carried away. So Alex, for us, we were using Elevate K-12 last year as a part of went sideways with our tutor program. So we no longer use Elevate K-12 because we use outside people to help facilitate that for us. So Alex is an automated program that actually assesses students where they are, and then it gives them an online opportunity, almost like a course. And then it gives them problems, and then it's almost like artificial intelligence. It gives them problems based on their abilities, and then if it gets too challenging, it knows when to back off. But the teachers are the facilitators of that. So we now strip away the middleman, and our teachers have more autonomy, and they have the ability to choose who gets the program, how long they're on the program, and then have more direct access to the data. And that to us is a win, because we want our teachers to own, the data and work with the students and help them own their own learning. And so this helps us do that.
Is Monroe Middle the only school utilizing this?
I believe, yes, they are. The program's been around for a while, but currently, I believe they are the only school. Yes, sir.
What subjects does it work in?
Well, we're using it for our math program right now.
Math, okay.
That's where we're starting. We did a trial last spring,
Mhm.
and then we asked to have it this year because we didn't want to use the other program because we wanted it closer to home.
So the teachers kind of use it as a fill-in for their math block as part of the
Part of the
work.
remediation process.
Remediation,
Yes.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. So our current challenges, we have our goals, we have the things that we're working on, but the challenges that we have here working, in our environment right now is that our students, typically they're coming on their 2 days. We're still trying to wrangle and get out in the community and try to bring them back in. But then when they're not with us, despite all of our efforts, they're not logging on those other 2 days, or even the remote working day, which is Friday. So that is definitely a challenge for us. And then, we've had some challenges with technology, which have been remedied very recently, and we're super thankful for that. But we've got the Chromebooks. We have more Chromebooks coming in. And so that is, we're extremely thankful for that. And I'll speak more to the challenges when I can talk about the solutions. So next slide, please. And so I'll start, like I said, we've had some touch and go attendance with our students. They don't always arrive on the days that they're supposed to. Our Plan B students, our Plan D students are doing fairly well with engaging because that's what they signed up for. But our Plan B students sometimes have some difficulty. So we've been utilizing home visits, parent-teacher conferences, Oftentimes the counselors and the admins make themselves available as parents and students show up, try to walk them through the system. We also, once again, we're continuing to work through our PLCs because we need to really worry about engagement and talking about the best practices for that. We understand that working a hybrid model in schools are a little bit foreign for us, but if we collaborate and work, together and not really try to keep coming up with something different in these little pockets, not working in silos, that is something that we're really trying to hone and share all of that. Who's having success with one strategy, make sure that gets out to someone else so they can not reinvent the wheel. And then also we're having parent activities that allow for more training in the skills that we want to see happen. So we've had a time management skills workshop for the parents, and we've recorded and made it available and things just to make sure that they know how to properly support their students. We had a virtual curriculum night, and then we had a drive-through process where we supported all of our students. They could come through the drive-through and through the circle and get some help to have, get new computers, get a charger, get help on Canvas, get a side-by-side Power School account, all of the things that they need to be able to kind of help their scholars at home and really keep an eye on their progress, because that is really hard. Parents are at work, parents are managing multiple things. Our kids are sometimes managing multiple things, and it's a lot of pieces to keep up with. And then now in recent time, we also have our Chromebooks. We've got a couple of hundred of those that will be available to us, and so that we can continue to keep up with the community needs. And so those are some of our solutions to the challenges that may preclude us from our goals. No, and that is a challenge for us. We try to find as many ways as possible to reach out. I do a lot, from the feedback I get from parent council, when we survey and we talk to them often. We have a good hearty group of about 25 parents who are pretty frequent participants, and they like when I give them the text. So I send them directly the text with the links to get to, the resources, and we try to go about it that way. We went to Light It Up Monroe and had a table at that event, just trying to reach out to parents, let them know what programs we offer, what kind of help they can get from us. So we're trying to think outside the box to reach our parents and give them more to supports. We understand that this is a challenging time.
When I was at Monroe Middle, blessed to have two kids graduate from there, we had a strong site base. Does that site base still exist?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is it helping you to maybe recruit some of those parents?
I have one parent involved at this time, but we definitely have a very strong site base. They help us keep our plan and our leadership and all of our ducks in a row.
Excellent.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I want to second those comments. When was it? Was it last fall? I can't remember when we did the visit with members of the Monroe City Council. It seems
that was actually probably about a month before we went out.
Okay. Had members, including the mayor and of the city council of Monroe, to give them an opportunity to visit and see in actuality what the Healthcare Academy is all about. And I can tell you they had nothing but raves. They did not realize at all what was going on, let alone that this is now moved up to the high school. They were all very complimentary. But you know what I like about you? You know what I like about you? You've got 2 challenges and you've got 10 solutions. That's what I like to see, more solutions than challenges.
Those challenges are very big. They require lots of solutions.
And they've been there for a while. But I think one of the things that's really helped you also is a reduction in staff turnover. Because if I remember correctly, that's been a tough issue at Monroe Middle. And I think we all agree if you can keep the good team in place consistently from year to year, that's only going to be helpful. But I want to second everyone's comments. I think you're doing a great job. And really proud of your work, and please relay our compliments to your entire staff as well, because we all know it's not just the principal that gets the job done, it's everybody. So please relay to all your staff there at Monroe Middle the how proud we are of the good works you're doing.
Thank you very much. The last slide I have is actually tied to our NC STAR plan. And these key indicators pretty much sum up all of the goals and the solutions that we're trying to put in place to kind of make sure we meet our goals. So it talks about pretty much our culture. It talks about us using the PLCs as a powerful tool to continue with teacher engagement and give them the supports that they need. Talks about quality instruction and supporting our students socially, emotionally, and so and using the team structure, which you brought up the site-based. Well, the PLC also, goes hand in hand with that whole entire collaboration piece. And that's it. So does anyone have any more questions?
If it's a success, it's 90% leader. If it's a failure, it's 90% leader. So no matter how many good players somebody have, you need a helm, you need a head. And thank you for doing a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate you all.
Thank you, Ms. Giddens. Great job.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Dr. Crawford?
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Thank you for letting me be here this morning to share information about East Union Middle School. So I'm going to share our current data as well as what we're working on as a school to improve, to move from a D status to a C status. So as you can see, you're looking at our data, which is reflective of the 2018-2019 school year. So you can see that we had great gains in our overall proficiency with our students, and our school growth, that is the area that we continue to work on, is growing our students. So our school growth, we didn't demonstrate enough growth to get to a level C, but that is certainly our area of focus. You'll go to the next slide. So some of our accomplishments, as Dr. Houlihan mentioned, we were 1 point from a C. We have had great gains, specifically looking at math. We've had great gains in math. We know that we have tutoring. That's a focus at our school, math tutoring, so that has helped us tremendously. Some of our other accomplishments that I'd like to highlight is many of our subgroups of students, we've seen gains in many of those subgroups. So we're beginning to close the gap with those students. So those are some highlights of our accomplishments in looking at the data. So I want to share some of our current challenges, and as you will see, it's probably very similar to what Ms. Giddens has shared with you. So one of our challenges right now is teacher staffing and retention. So we do have a high turnover rate at East Union Middle School. And, there are a couple of factors for that. Number one, we are more remotely than many of our other schools. So, we hear from candidates or from teachers, sometimes reasons for leaving is because it's a far drive. And they often leave to, find a school that's closer to home. So that's one of our challenges. And then second of all, just being a high priority school. That's a challenge, and that oftentimes is a reason for our retention rate. So when we have those vacancies, it is challenging to staff those vacant positions simply because of those, variables that I just talked about. But that is something that we constantly work on, is recruiting teachers and retaining them. Another challenge that we have is student participation and engagement. And we do have the resources with technology. We've got hotspots. But because many of our students at our school live far out within our district, sometimes that connectivity is a little bit spotty for them. So, of course, we work with them and making sure that they're getting everything that they need. And also just students participating. So we're working really hard to make sure that even on the days that they're not at school, that they are participating in the learning. So that is a challenge, and I'll share how we're addressing that in just a moment. And then lastly, another challenge is our parent engagement and communication. We do communicate to our parents. We know that just trying to communicate to them in one way is not going to reach everyone. So we do communicate with them various modes through text messages, newsletters, phone calls, video conferences. So we try to connect with them in as many ways as possible. And it's not always reciprocated, but that is something that we know is a challenge, and we have some strategies in place for that. So a couple of things that I want to highlight as far as ways that we are addressing these challenges. I just want to share with our student participation. You know, we know that if we can get them to join in our live meetings, then we've got them. And so, you know, teachers are trying all kinds of different strategies to encourage participation, such as, you know, bring your dog to school. You know, so if students are at home working remotely, the teacher will just acknowledge the first 5 minutes of class to recognize students, welcome them, you know, bring your dog. They can show their dog. So anything that they can do to encourage students to participate, to join the live meetings. So our teachers are really coming up with some creative ways to do that. As far as teachers,
how is that working? To bring the dog, bring Fido to the class.
it's virtual. It's virtual.
Yeah, but I mean, how's it?
You know,
is
it works
getting them
for
in front
some.
of the screen?
You know, it really encourages students. If they know that there's something that they can look forward to join the class that day, then they're going to come. So they're trying a lot of different things. We have participation. Many of our teachers are recognizing students who are participating. And so kind of like a class competition to see, you know, which class has the most participation for the day. So just a lot of different strategies to try to encourage students to join our live meetings and participate in the learning.
Thank you.
Sure. As far as teacher staffing and retention, you know, we do have a lot of strategies in place. We acknowledge our teachers. We have incentives and rewards to really just acknowledge our teachers and, you know, create a positive climate at the school. Go ahead.
Let me mention it real quick. And I know that Dr. Crawford's going to touch on this later, but if you saw the last bullet on participation, just a reminder, East Union is the only middle school that we currently have that has an agricultural technology program. It is a new STEM program that just started last year, I believe. They're also the only middle school that has a state-of-the-art, very cool greenhouse that can be used for relevant engaging learning. And that was provided through our CTE department last year. It's phenomenal. And, you know, much like Health Sciences Academy in our middle schools, we're really trying to focus on putting in innovative academic programming that's going to encourage kids to want to come to school, be part of the school, do something different and unique. We have a great partnership with Wingate University and the North Carolina Cooperative Extension for this program. And if you haven't been to East Union to see the greenhouse and to meet their ag tech teachers, I would encourage you to do so. They're doing a phenomenal job engaging students in that science, technology, you know, engineering, mathematics, kind of the ag tech focus, and it's becoming very successful.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I'll share a little bit more about that. Okay, so continuing with the way that we are addressing some of our challenges, I've already mentioned the technology. You know, we do have the hotspots. We have the additional computers. It's just sometimes that connectivity issue because our community is very rural. But again, we work with our students. And then the parent engagement and communication. Just, you know, thinking outside of the box of ways that we can constantly, you know, get information out to our families and make sure that they stay informed. So as far as our school improvement goals, we have 3 that we are focusing on this year. Our first one is around classroom management. The second goal is about designing lessons and the delivery of the instruction. And then our third goal focuses on a tiered instructional support system, so that we're providing the levels of support that each of our students need. So just to highlight some of our strategies to address our goal, I do want to point out we are a restart school, and because of that, we do receive additional funding. And we use all of that funding to hire additional teachers to for the purpose of reducing class sizes. Because when we know that when we reduce class sizes, then that's going to have a positive impact on classroom management. So we have found that that has really had a positive impact. Another thing that I do want to highlight is, let's see, what was that? Our tiered intervention support system. We are really focusing on making sure that we are providing small groups of instruction for our students. And, you know, we've had conversations with teachers about, even for our students who aren't participating, we are reaching out to them, making sure that we're providing them with one-on-one support or small group support. So really working hard to make sure that we're providing each of our students with the level of support that they need. So here's our information about our ag tech. So this is a picture of our greenhouse. We are so excited about that. Our students have already been out doing some projects out in the greenhouse. They're very excited about it. And you see, we have a 3-tiered phase for implementing our ag tech program. And right now we're in phase 2. We are working, the ag tech teachers are working with our science teachers to align their instruction. So they're working hand in hand. And so our teachers have had meetings and talking about how they can align the standards. And as Dr. Houlihan said, that is certainly one of our biggest strategies for engaging our students, is getting them excited about the ag tech. And now that we have the greenhouse, we've also had conversations about a community garden, because we really want this to be an extension into the community, not just something that, you know, is kept within the school, but an extension to the community.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of our phase plan for our ag tech program.
Now, when you say phase 2, does that mean 7th graders? It's now integrated in the 7th grade level?
So ag tech is all grade levels.
Oh.
So it's part of our related arts, just
Okay.
like students go to PE, they go to music. Students can also come to ag tech. But we are, again, extending that so that our science teachers are also, they're working closely with the ag tech teachers, and they're working together to plan lessons that are ag tech related, so that students see, you know, how it correlates and how it's relevant to the world in their experiences.
Okay, so you're in the second year. We plan to take this to Forest Hills too?
I think that's a to be determined. I mean, much
Okay.
like we did with at Monroe High School with health sciences, talking with Dr. Plew, they've got some opportunities there to take what we're doing at the middle school level and really expand upon that and align it to existing courses that are already available at that school. So we're working on that as an idea.
This greenhouse looks pretty big. What are you growing in there?
It's nice.
What do you got growing in there?
Well, they have plans later on so that things can grow and be available in the spring. We're going to have a plant sale in the spring. So come buy some plants from us. So our ag teachers already have plans for how it's going to be used throughout the year.
Okay.
So there's nothing in there now.
We just finished.
No, they do take some of the kids out there and work on projects.
Okay.
Yes.
So they'll bring stuff there to work on,
Mhm.
but there's nothing growing in there right now.
Not right now.
Okay.
Well, that looks like a pretty fancy setup with the exhaust fans and everything else. It's not just some plastic slung over some
It's
wood
very
slats.
nice. I invite you all to come out and take a look
Oh,
at
it's
it.
pretty cool.
It's very nice. We are very proud of it. We're the only middle school that has one. So we're proud of it.
And this is partnered with Wingate University and NC Extension,
The North
Yeah.
Carolina Cooperative Extension.
Cooperative
Yes.
Extension. Okay.
Yes. And we work
And it's-
closely with Union County Ag Center
Okay.
as well.
The Ag Center. Okay.
Yes.
Well, that makes sense. You're just down the road. That's great.
So do you have any questions at this time?
When you're trying to recruit teachers and they say it's too far out, don't let them forget about the tollway. I take
Yes.
that all the time. You basically pop out basically right there where y'all are.
Right. It does save a lot of time, depending on where the teachers are coming from.
Right.
Yes.
Any questions from other
Great
members?
job. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Prophet.
you.
Good
Thank
job.
you.
Thank you, Dr. Crawford. I just wanted to make an overall comment. I think everybody can appreciate the struggles, not just these two schools, but everybody this year. I mean, we are just trying to keep it together to get through the year. That we don't know what's going to happen for the next semester, but I got a sinking feeling it's going to be more of the same. I know personally, having a middle schooler at my house, they are struggling only being in class 2 days a week. One day this will be behind us. And I think we'll see even greater things out of the two schools that we talked about today. But right now, well, I'll tell you what, I don't envy any teacher, any principal, any educator. It's a struggle when you can only see the kids or get the kids in 2 days a week. And even the elementary that you get to see 4 days, but they went from March to October being virtual. So I'll tell you, it's you take a tough job and you pile that on top of it. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's tough.
Mr. Sides, I would agree. It's definitely a challenging environment, but our school system, the people here are phenomenal. We have great leaders and great teachers, and I say my big kudos and shout out to them because they're working every day as hard as they can to get kids engaged and to teach at a high level. So, and Dr. Breedlove, to close out this one, can you make one final comment on the NC STAR and school improvement plans? That's the other part of this agenda, please.
Absolutely. And so on here, all schools have finished their NC STAR. This is the state's school improvement plan for schools. And so in the past, we had our own template that we used. Well, now the state provides us with the template. So those have been PDF'd. Today, all board members will receive a zip file with all of our school improvement plan. We do that so that you have a first chance of looking at them before they go live on the website once December 1st rolls around and the Board of Education has had a time to look at those school improvement plans. Embedded in there are also our restart plans. Schools that are restart, they have goals in NC STAR that have been placed in that. So not only do you get to see the school improvement plans, but a part of this is our low performing schools plan for improvement and our restart schools and how they're using their restart funding.
So on this, Mr. Sides, I believe we need a motion on this as an action item to take these plans to the full board at December 1.
Can I get a motion to do just that?
So moved.
Have a motion, need a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Board unanimous. We'll move it to the next. Okay. Elementary literacy. I asked for this item to be added. Recently forwarded to all board members, EOG scores for our 3rd and 4th, 5th grades for all of our elementary schools. I have a follow-up handout which is also now an attached document in board docs that I want to call to your attention. It is showing results for the top 12 school districts in the state of North Carolina for their EOG reading proficiency rates. And again, this is from the 18-19 school year. Remember, no EOGs last year. But I want you to look at Union County. We are number one across the board. And there are some of the other 11 that aren't even close to our proficiencies in third and fourth and fifth grade reading. And I think this is a true key to our greatness, because if these kids aren't reading at or near grade level in third, fourth, especially fifth, then they're going to fall behind in the other subjects because their comprehension is not where it needs to be. I want you to look at some of these and the neighboring districts. We blow everybody away on third grade and second grade. Nobody's even in our league. So I want this information is available in board docs to the public. I want you to take a look at this. Now, we all know all bets are off for this year. We don't even know if we're going to have EOGs again this year. We didn't have them last year. So this information is from 18-19, but this is a testament to all the hardworking people of UCPS, from Dr. Houlihan on down, of what we've been able to achieve in what I think is, we brag about our graduation rate. To me, that's at the end of the pipeline. Third, fourth, and fifth grade reading is towards the beginning of the pipeline that really sets the start of the race through high school. The better our scores are in reading in elementary, I think there will be a direct correlation to our graduation and EOG scoring in later years. And I just wanted to bring this. This was very eye-opening to me. I want to make it available to all the board members and to celebrate our success. And thanks to Dr. Breedlove for putting this together for me. So does anyone have any other comments or questions on this item? All right, let's move on. Sole search, item C2, sole source purchase. Is that
Yes,
you,
sir.
Dr. Breedlove?
That is me. And
All right.
so this is for our CTE program as a whole, but this sole source purchase is specifically for the advanced manufacturing class that we have, and it's a training program, has about 39 self-paced units in it, and it covers the areas of safety, quality practices and measurement, manufacturing processes in production, and then, of course, maintenance awareness. It has video and tutorials in there. Imagine, just as an example of how an engine, if you were to slice an engine in half, for example, and being able to see how the inner workings of that engine works. Well, it does this for manufacturing equipment that we have. So students can see not only how what the outside is, but what is going on inside this, so that they can learn about safety and how to maintain that equipment. So this is once again is for a particular class within our CTE department.
Are there any particular schools that will be utilizing this in particular?
Currently, CATA has the advanced manufacturing class.
Okay, so it'd be CATA. All right. Any other questions on this from the board members? If not, I'll entertain a motion to recommend approval to the full board. Need a motion.
So move.
All right. Need a second. Have a second. All in favor of support to the full board, say aye.
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 It is unanimous. Item C3, 21-22 high school programs of studies. Is that also you, Dr. Breedlove?
It is.
All
And,
right.
it's a little ahead of schedule this year, because we are completing first semester prior to the holiday break this year, the way the calendar is designed. So, yeah, probably a lot of people are clapping for that.
Makes sense.
So as such, we are bringing this to the curriculum committee like we do every year, to give you the first look at the new program of studies. It's gone through its revisions, and here to talk about those revisions is our Director of K-12 Instruction, Dr. Laurel Healy.
Good morning. Thank you. We do have a few. Can you hear me now? Okay. All right. Just wanted to highlight a few updates that we have for the program of studies for this year. The first couple of things I want to mention you would find throughout the program. We always go through and check the links that are listed in the document so that we make sure they're accurate. So if a parent tries to use that to access a website, that those are accurate. We also went through and took out all the references to NC final exams because, as you may recall, the state has done away with those. So anytime that was mentioned within our testing qualifications, we have eliminated that. The social studies courses for high school have been in the works for the past year and a half. One of the courses has been finalized. That's the finance and, economics and personal finance. So starting on page 10, you will see reference to social studies several places within the document. So the first place you'll see it is where we just have a list of all the requirements. It's getting a little complicated because we had what students would have taken 2 years ago, what students took last year, what they're taking this year, what they need to take next year. It's getting a little complicated, so we tried to outline all of that in that initial page 10. So even if a student who is a current student can kind of go back and look and see what their requirements are.
And Dr. Healy, correct me if I'm wrong, on this particular topic, this is a direct result of the new legislation passed a year or two ago that would require all high school students beginning next fall to take the economics
Yes.
personal finance course. That is a new legislative requirement. And as a direct result, the other course sequences of what classes are offered and what they have to be have basically been completely overwritten and come up with a new course sequence at the state level. And so these now become the 4 course offerings you have to offer for the social studies credits to graduate. Is that correct?
That's correct. So personal finance, economics and personal finance is the one that has been approved. So our current 9th graders will have to take that. They have a choice when it comes to civics. That one hasn't been finalized, and they have a choice when it comes to the American history. So each year, each semester, it changes. We will certainly be taking a look at the standards, the content of those courses. It seems that the economics and personal finance would be the senior year, but we could swap what we currently have, which is the American history and the civics, because the standards may be more appropriate for 11th grader to have that civics class at that time. If it's talking about elections and being proactive in your community and those kinds of things, would we rather have that for a junior? That's what the state is recommending, is more for a junior senior level. So we'll certainly look at those standards, see what we think is appropriate for our students, what's developmentally appropriate and relevant to them, and make a decision or make a recommendation and come back to you with the sequencing we think would be most appropriate for our children. So there are some other pages where you will see reference to social studies, where the course descriptions are. It's in our UCV offerings, it's in our OCS offerings. So you'll see reference to these social studies changes on several pages in the document.
Can I go back to the economics and personal finance?
Yes.
Is the state requiring that to be taken at the 9th grade level, or is that our decision?
They recommend 11th or 12th. We could decide that. We thought we were going to just go with the senior year, but now we don't really know what the standards are for the civic literacy. So which one of those would be appropriate for our children at which grade level?
I think what you meant earlier, Mr. Sides, is because it has been approved, that means that our current 9th graders, before they graduate, have to take that course.
Oh,
Not that the current 9th graders
I'm just
take it
thinking
right
of
now.
9th graders a little too young
Little
to
early.
absorb
Right.
some of these financial things. But
Yes.
as you're a junior and senior, and maybe you got a job, maybe you got a car, it kind of starts to hit home. So I see. Okay,
I'm sorry.
I stand corrected. Thank you.
Okay.
No, I like the fact that you give it to a freshman. A lot of these kids, freshmen, they're 14, 15, they have little part-time jobs and things of that. There's no better time to start. So either way, I would not minimize the power that a 9th grader, they're a 9th grader. Some of these 9th graders, if you look just nationwide, can become in 4 years, a lot of them can almost be professional athletes. So that 4 years of learning how to take care of a dollar that UCPS would provide would cause that person, by the time they are a senior, to be better stewards of their finance. So I think at any level is good, but I would not hesitate to give it to those young people like that.
Okay.
That's good stuff.
Thank you. All right, if you move on to page 18, we have always had a way for students to retake courses that they have previously failed or passed, but we just added an example so that it's very clear that if a student were to take a class and not fails, and I use the example of Math 1, and they want to retake that course and have that failing grade replaced by the passing grade, they could take it at a different level. If they took it at the honors level and that was too difficult, they can drop down to the CP level and take it that way. Same thing in the other direction. If they failed it at CP, but they've changed their plans and they want to take it at the honors level, they can do that. We just wanted to be real clear about the flexibility that's available with our children who do not pass our courses. So we added that example. The second one, the new one, now if they fail it a second time, they get a failing grade again, but we don't have that happen very often. So it gives them a way to get that off of their transcript. All right, the next thing is on page 32. You'll see that CCRG Math, that is the Career and College Ready Graduate Math class that is part of legislation from the state, that if we have students in a certain GPA range and that have not tested out through an ACT score, a Math 3 score, an SAT score, and they're in this range, if they were to go to a community college, they would have to take remedial courses. So this CCRG Math, if they took it in high school and scored at a certain level, they would avoid that remediation need at the community college level. So we are being provided modules from the state for our students to take to accomplish that. And that's what we're using right now. But we feel like students would be more likely to participate if it were a math class, not just a standalone set of modules they have to do independently, and if they were to get math credit for it. So we have added that to our 4th math category for students who would be going to a community college. And we are waiting on this course description from the state. So that is we had it on our list last year because it should have been done in the fall, but the state changed their mind. So we'll be adding that for next year. If you move on to the fine and performing arts section, page 45 through 52, you will see that we have sort of reorganized those courses. They aren't new courses. We just structured it a little better so it was easier for families to find the courses they were looking for in a more organized way. So you'll see what looks like a lot of red, but it's just rearranging things rather than redoing them. On to page 80, under our UCV offerings, we are creating a Spanish 2 course right now. We already have Spanish 1, but we know that Spanish 2 levels of Spanish are needed for admission to North Carolina colleges and universities. So we are adding that additional offering to support our students. And then CTE toward the back, starting at page 80, is sort of in the same boat with the fine arts. All of the course additions, new titles, new job descriptions, those are things that come from the state. So just getting that organized in the best way possible because they have so many offerings, and updating all the things that the state requires. So almost all of the changes this year are things that the state's requiring, nothing that we have decided locally. And of course, we always update the back page.
I was talking to Dr. Breedlove earlier, and I have a suggestion for something along the lines of social studies. I'd love to see, well, first of all, gauge the interest from our educators, a class in U.S. Constitution, and perhaps if needed to fill in the rest of the semester, the North Carolina Constitution. How did it come about? Of course, what's in it? And that it's a living, breathing, and growing document. I think that is very relevant for our younger people to understand where we've come from and what makes us unique as a country, is our Constitution. And unfortunately, of course, we hit upon it, but I think it would be interesting. Well, it'd be interesting to gauge the interest in students that'd be willing to dive in deeper.
All right. All right. Thank you.
I love that.
We'll be going to we'll need a motion to recommend to the full board for approval. So unless there are any other questions or comments, I'll need a motion to move forward with it.
So move.
Need a second. Need a second.
Second.
Have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We'll
Aye.
move on to approval by the full board. Okay. So we have those items that will be moving forward. Our next meeting date will be December 17th. Yes, ma'am.
I'm a bit more interested in learning more about the content that would go into the U.S. You're referring to the U.S. Constitution, correct?
Yeah, that was just my suggestion for a course of study. Yeah. I don't even know the proper way to propose that, or it's probably too late for, like we were talking about, too late for 2021.
Sure. The way it normally works is we would take a suggestion like that, and a lot of the suggestions come from teachers that think about a course they would like to teach, and then it goes from the teacher to the principal, and the principal then brings it to all high school principals in a meeting saying, hey, I would like to propose a new course. We have a form for that, and the principals talk about it. It's rare that the principals say no, especially if there's an interest at a school or multiple schools for a course. And then it would go into the program of studies. Now, whether or not the course actually makes depends on the students that register for that course in the school. So throughout that process in the discussion, well, what would that course entail? Can somebody share with me at least a template of the syllabus of what it would cover? So that's kind of how the process normally works in selecting additional courses, or even deleting courses out if it's no longer taught at a school and it's the only school that's taught.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions? Okay. As I mentioned, next meeting date is December 17th. Hard to believe our year is almost concluded. And Ms. Helms, I want to thank you again for your service and your service to this committee. I know you've been on it for a good while, probably most of your tenure on the board. And
Yeah, all 8 years I think I've served on curriculum.
oh, okay. All right. Well,
Yay.
you will be missed. And best of luck to you. And I'll be seeing you at church on Sundays. So you won't be a stranger. But anyway, thank you for your service to our entire board and the educators and students of Union County. Is there any more business to come before the committee, or any other comments from any of the board members? Ms. Helms, do you have any?
No, thank y'all so much for everything.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Need a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.